Have you ever said,
Saint Anger is a bad album. It sounds like Snare sounds like a trash can lid. There are no solos. Hetfield's vocals sound like ass. Bob Rock sucks at bass. Metallica sucks.
that's you right there? So most people tend to consider Saint Anger as Metallica's worst album, but they only mention the bad things about it. For example, but today we're doing the opposite. You see, I'm an optimistic person. I tend to see the good in everything. Okay, let's cut the bullshit. This is the second episode of my parody series, Everything Okay With. Obviously a parody of Everything Wrong With from Cinema Sins. And just in case you haven't seen the first episode, here's the link. Nonetheless, enjoy, or at least try to. Now, of course, we're gonna review each track because if we don't, then what the hell are we doing here? And we're definitely gonna talk about the other stuff, you know. Just not now, we'll save it for later. First of all, the album cover. You know, the best album covers are the ones that give you a first impression of what you're about to hear. Or at least that's what I think. You see, visuals are essential. When you look at pretty much any photo, you start hearing voices in your head like Randy Orton does. For example, here's a photo of a beach, a random photo I got from Google. You must be hearing Hawaiian music in your head right now. That is what I mean by the role of visuals. And when it comes to that role, this album does a great job. It looks raw, aggressive, angry, pretty much like all the songs on it. And in case you have the CD like I do, you have this on the back cover. This painting of this sort of monstrous creature also backs it all up. Plus the pale colors used kinda make it look old, so that's a bonus. I said bonus. So the cover definitely gets the horns up. Now to the track listing. Frantic is one of the best openers Metallica has ever had. It demonstrates the entire album and all its musical features. The snare drum intro is very catchy. The guitar parts are heavy and I like the groove. The lyrics are obviously very different than those on the previous albums. It's not about violence, justice, forgiveness, or the lack of it, but rather about lifestyle and death style.
My lifestyle determines my death style. My lifestyle determines my death style.
But I'm not saying they're bad at all. In fact, I like them. The vocals are pretty tough. The first time I listened to the album, I couldn't believe it was James. Like, you can't tell me the singer on this album is the same as this guy. But once again, it's not a bad thing, it's actually unique. It was the first time I heard such singing, and we're probably never gonna hear anything like that again.
Saint Anger round my neck. Saint Anger round my neck.
If you think Frantic was angry, wait till you hear the title track. The lyrics and vocals here are more emotional and heartfelt. But then right before the last verse, it gets really intense.
Set free!
This is one of the only 3 songs on the album that incorporate fast double bass drumming. The 2 others being Invisible Kid and Sweet Amber. Now this album does have something in common with the first 4 albums. The first 4 had short openers, the title tracks would come in next, and they'd be long tracks like 7 or 8 minutes. And that's exactly the case with Saint Anger. Now, Dirty Window has a catchy intro, but then things get messed up. This is where the lyrics start to seem like they were quickly improvised.
Projector, protector, rejector, infector.
These are some random ass lyrics. For that, I gotta remove a couple of horns. And the song overall is not really impressive. Not Metallica impressive. Some Kind of Monster is catchiness overload, despite being at least 2 minutes longer than it should have been. This could have been another song to include double bass on, only if they had kept the tough riff. You know, the riff. Anyway. Yeah, that gets the horns up. Now, here's a little question. When the hell did Metallica ever use a drop A flat tuning? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the one Metallica song with the lowest tuning ever, Invisible Kid. This here's the second song with double bass, and double bass naturally gets the horns up. The lyrics are apparently about James being an introverted person.
What a good boy you are, out of the way and you kept to yourself.
Yeah, I can relate. If you're into songs with a good amount of profanity, My World is a good choice. Once again, there's a lot of catchiness here, and the song has one of the best lines you'll ever hear.
God, it feels like it only rains on me.
Shoot Me Again, my favorite track on the album, so obviously there's gonna be a lot of bias here. First of all, the bass is really good and audible. The lyrics and vocals have a really dark tone here.
Stand silent in flames.
But then again, it all turns into anger and hatred.
All the shots I take spit back at you, yeah.
And it's 7 minutes long. And I do want to point out that Lars used a drum beat that he had never used before. I'm talking about this one.
Shoot me again, come on, shoot me again, come on.
Usually you hear that in Slayer, Anthrax, and Mayhem songs, and for that it gets the horns up. ÇEBEŞ, another song with random lyrics, sorry. But the catchiness of the main riff and the vocals come to save the day.
Wash your back so you won't stab mine. Get in bed with your own kind. Live your life so you don't see mine. Drape your back so you won't shine.
And of course the aggressive double bass. While most of the songs on the album are angry and aggressive, The Unnamed Feeling is the most depressed. The lyrics are also kinda suicidal. Look, I don't want YouTube to delete my video, you know how strict they are with this shit.
And wait for this train to over the line.
Anyway, such heartfelt lyrics and vocals definitely get a horns up. But then near the end of the song, things get chaotic once again.
Get the fuck out of here. I just wanna get the fuck away from me. A rage, a glaze, I hurt, I hate.
I don't have too much to say about Purify. It's a very underrated song, but it's also a song that deserves to be underrated, just like Dirty Window. Plus, how many times did I hear this kind of riff? I mean, what's with the overuse of the 035 riff? Oh shit. The last track, All Within My Hands. Somehow this song made it to a lot of Metallica's concerts, including the most recent S&M 2. And it's no wonder why. It's such a good song that they played acoustic and symphony versions of it. I would say it's, I don't know, kinda a flexible, convertible song. You get the idea. Near the end of the song, you get this. Well, and this is how they close the album. Now that we're done with the track listing, let's talk about the other stuff. Oh no. The music videos are actually good. I mean, what's more badass than filming at a prison? The bass is surprisingly good, and apparently even Bob Rock has his own bass sound. However, the idea of having zero guitar solos is not a good one. When you have a very good lead guitarist like Kirk Hammett who also has his own signature sound, and you tell him not to play solos on a record, that is downright stupid, and I hate to say this. When you do that, you waste a lot of potential, you make a big mistake. One pair of horns removed. And finally, the snare drum. Oh boy. Does the snare drum get a horns up or does it get a horns down? Wait, is that even a thing? Okay, look, I know most people hate on Saint Anger mainly because of the snare sound. Yes, it does sound like a trash can, but is it bad? That is the $1,000,000 question. Now, before you hate on it, you need to know that when Saint Anger was released, and I was just a 1-year-old piece of shit, the snare sound got everyone's attention, and I mean everyone. So Lars is basically a genius. He knew everyone would talk about it. And when it comes down to it, is it really a bad sound? Does it actually suck? No, it doesn't. In fact, the only reason that people hate on it is because it was something unusual, and that's what people do. And I get it. But the point is, it's not a bad thing. In fact, I've listened to remastered versions of Saint Anger on YouTube, and the snare was normal, and to be honest, I did not like them. They did not sound good. The original was way better. The snare sound plays a big role in making Saint Anger what it is. Horns up to our little Danish friend, Sral. We've made it to the end, thanks all for watching. Next week we're having a sequel to this video, where I'll be explaining how good Saint Anger really is, and why is it that good. See ya later.